Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Is a trade that I put on today. Okay, I want to share with you. I'm going to talk dollar figures here for a minute. Okay, what I always try to do when I am getting into a position or getting into a trade is I'm always trying to limit my risk but increase my upside. All right, limit my risk, but increase my upside. Now, what do I mean by that? I want to give you a few examples here of actual live trades that I've taken and I'm in right now. Right. So, for example, McDonald's. Right. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Right now, I'm in a position with McDonald's. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I'm in McDonald's right now, and I'm in a position right now with McDonald's. If this is a losing position, if this is a losing trade for me, my account is down somewhere around about the 1% mark. All right. Now, probably less than that, probably 0.5%, right? 0.5%, somewhere in there. Now, let me talk dollar figures here for a minute. Okay. Let me talk dollar figures here for a minute. Right now, on this position here, I've put up $2,000, just over $2,000 on a trade on McDonald's. That $2,000 is a very, very, very small portion of my portfolio, okay? If the whole thing goes belly up, then there's only a real small percent of my account has that has been sort of damaged there, right? It has been hurt by my portfolio. So hear me out, right? My total risk on this position here really is $2,000. I'm talking numbers here for a minute, but you could use $100, $1,000, whatever, okay? But here's the thing. My risk is that. Now, really my risk is half of that because it's probably 50 or 60%, right? So really my risk is say $1,000, right? Because if it starts to go against me, over the next, say, week or two, then I probably could get out with maybe a 50 or 60% loss. So really, I'm really risking around $1,000 here. So bear with me for a minute, okay? Always try to limit your risk when you position yourself, but increase the upside profit potential, right? So I'm really risking around $1,000 here, right? Which still is very small percent of my account. Now, the position that I did and the position that I took, if it runs on, then that's say $1,000 risk, roughly. If it runs on, if it runs up to here, which is around the 2.5 to 2.10 mark, well then I know my position, right? I know that my position in this of say roughly around a $1,000 risk is going to generate somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 profit. Maybe on the low end around 20 grand profit. So I'm risking roughly around say $1,000, maybe a bit more on that one position, and that's probably my risk there. But if it turns out to be a profitable trade and it goes to where I think it's going to go over the next say few weeks to a month, which is around that 205 to 210, then my profit is around between 20 and 30 grand, depending on where I get out with this trade. So I'm sharing this one example with you to share with you that whenever you're getting into these markets, always try to have your limit small on your account, right? So the losses are small on your account, but the profit potential out of that trade can trump so much. So you can have 1, 2, 3 losing trades or 4 losing trades, and then one really good profitable trade, which doesn't happen, right, for me. But even with that, even with 1 or 2 or 3 losing trades, but then one big profit trade, you could be right. You could be having, say, 3 losses and 1 profit and still make a lot of money out of the markets, right? Because think about that, right? If I have 4 losing trades and I lose $1,000 each time, I'm down 4 grand. But then but then the 5th trade, it actually makes me a profit. I just made 25, 30 grand. Thank you very much. I'm still up 20 grand. I'm trying to get you to think about the way that I view these markets and the way that I trade these markets. Okay? It's position yourself in a way of doing that if you are having a losing trade, it's a small loss. But if you are having a very nice profitable trade, it's a big profit, right? So just give you an example there. right? There's an example of a trade that I got into today. Okay, so I won't go into the exact details of that because that I did that for my private coaching clients. I can't go into that exact trade right now because again, I had a coaching call with what I do with my private coaching clients, and this morning I got together for over an hour and I walked through that setup and I walked through that trade, you know, I walked through all the details with my private clients this morning with the coaching call because I do a coaching call with them, a group coaching call every single week. So unfortunately, I won't be able to share that trade with you, but I'm going to give you the numbers. Okay, here was the numbers on this trade. I put up $500 risk on this trade, right? So my whole risk on this trade is $500. I'm risking really 100% of this trade. If over the next week it runs on for me, which wasn't a big move. In fact, you know what? I'll just share this. I won't walk through the step-by-step details here. You can learn that a bit later on. But TW, all right. So Twilio. So here's the thing, guys. Okay, here's the thing. I got into a trade here today called Twilio, right? So here's the thing. If this trade completely, if it stops here and goes up, well then I have just lost $500. Okay, I'm cool with that. All right, I'm talking about numbers here, right? But if it decides to continue down to this next support level here, this 91 here, my $500 risk, if that happens over the next couple of days, my $500 risk is probably going to turn into a $6,500 profit. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Right? I'm sharing this with you because if you can start to stack the odds on your favor like this, where you can get into positions where you're risking small, but the profit potential out of that is enormous, well, you're putting the odds on your side even more, right? So if you had, say, a $10,000 trading account and you started doing $100 trades like this, 100 here, 100 there, 100 here, and one out of say 5 is a profitable trade, which again for me it's not, right? I have one setup that gives me a 90+% success rate. You learn that on that training at johnslivetraining.com. But then I also have another setup which is very similar that gives me roughly 70-80% success rate. But when I get into this, I'm always looking to say, okay, if this is a losing position, I want to protect my capital. But if it's a profitable position, I want to make a lot of, I want to do well. And again, try to really position yourself that way in the markets, because I found more and more that I always thought that I had to risk a lot to make a lot in the markets. And that was the complete way of thinking. Now, obviously I do this with options, right? But I always thought that I had to risk a lot to make a lot, right? And it's the actual opposite. It's finding really good trades, risking small, but position yourself in the way that if it does move for you, you can do really, really, really well. But if it doesn't, your account's only down really small, really, really small. So in this case example, right? So the McDonald's was a bit over $2,000 trade. If that works out, it's going to be about $25,000 to $30,000 profit for me. Okay. This one here was a much smaller trade. Why? Because I'm risking the whole lot, right? So I just put $500 in there. If it's down, my account's down like 0.2% or something, right? I'm okay with that risk. If it's a profitable trade, I just made $6,500. Maybe even more, right? Maybe even more depending on what actually happens there. But it's the way of thinking with your trading, okay? It's the way of thinking with your trading. So even if you have a $5,000 trading account, how do you start to really exponentially grow that? Firstly, you need to be able to get into really good trades, right? You can't just be getting into something because you think it's a good idea. With McDonald's, all right, with this trade here, this actually met the criteria of my trade, how I actively trade these markets. This met my momentum trading plan, momentum trading rules. So I got into that. And then also, McDonald's also met one of my other plans of how I trade the markets, right? So when I'm trading the markets, Twilio, I have a momentum style of trading. 90% of my stuff is done on these type of trades, which on average gives me, some of them give me 90+%. The other one gives me probably 70%. So the average is about 80% there. but there are styles of trades that give me a 90+% success rate. And I talked to you about that on johnslivetraining.com. You'll be able to see the web class, exactly what I look for in those 90+% success trades. And then also McDonald's as well too. That's also met one of my trading rules and trading plan. So for step one is to have a really good trading plan of what you're looking for, right? Something that you can get a 70 or 80% success rate on average, which means 70, 80% of the time, it's actually you're going to generate a profit, all right? Then when you are positioned, when you are trading the markets, maybe for 2 to 5 days, or even for a few weeks to a month, try to position yourself to where when you put your money up, you're risking small percent. If you've only got a $5,000 trading account, then start to do $100 trades, right? If it's a loss, you've just lost $100. If it's a profit, then your account could be up $500, $1,000, $1,500 from that one trade. And that's how you can start to exponentially grow your account, by risking small. So step one, have a good trading plan. One, I have the momentum style of trading, what I showed you before with Twilio. That's 90% of my trading, and 10% I have other style of trades, just like McDonald's. And even just like, I'll share that with you in a minute. But yeah, so just like McDonald's, right? But even when I'm looking to get into these positions, I'm always looking to protect myself. I never want to go backwards, guys. I never, ever, ever want to go backwards. And I want to set the game up to win for me. I'm the casino, not the market. Right? And it's the total flip. Most people are trying to load up big to make big. No. I want to load up small and make big, right? Because I'm the casino. I trade these markets like the casino. So step one, find out exactly what you're looking for in a good trading setup. Then step two, when you're getting into these trades, set it up in a way where you're only risking small of your account. And then it's game over from there. Because why is it game over from there? Because when you do make a loss, it's not hurting you. So you're not emotional about it because it's only a small percent of your account. Like, okay, I'm okay with that. But when it does generate a profit, it's exponentially growing your account. And before you know it, you're growing and growing and growing and growing from there. It's game over. So once again, guys, when you join my next web class today, I'm running another one today at johnslivetraining.com. You'll be able to see my trading strategy, but on the flip side, you'll be able to see the way that I trade options and so on and so forth as well too. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Please, 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 please position yourself where you're risking small. So if something happens with that, you've lost a small percent of your account, but then position it to where if it does run on, if it does go to where you think, like for example here, if McDonald's is a losing trade, I'm roughly risking around $1,000, maybe $1,200 out of this here, which is a real small percent of my account. If it does run up to 205 to 210, then the profit could be anywhere between 20 and 30 grand for me. Hey traders, I'm running a flash sale. It's a $7 flash sale to my brand new Go to the Markets by the Bullish trading course. If you go to johnsflashsale.com, you can get access to the $7 massive sale that I'm doing right now for a short time. So go to johnsflashsale.com and I'll see you over there.